We are recording, got it. London, Jill, hi from the UK and Wisconsin. Hi, Barb. So those who are joining us, another recording in progress, got it. Those who are joining us now, we are sitting we're typing wherever we are on earth in the chat so we can see the breadth and width of our circle. If you would, Osage and Cherokee peoples in St. Louis, Missouri, Liberty High. Mahina is in Kauai. Suzanne from Michigan, originally living in Canada, in Alberta. Mexico, Washington State. Shalom from Alaska. Yael is originally from Israel. And Evangelia from Vienna, Austria. Nice. Can you see those pins on the board of the earth? Northern Carolina, hi Johnny. Northern California, not Carolina, sorry. And Sharon in Colorado. We're making a pattern. It's lovely. Are we waiting for more people to join? Stefan is in Vienna, Austria too. Oh, nice. Might be neighbors. Yeah, Elder Ia is in St. Croix, Virgin Islands. And I didn't have a chance to type, so I'm in Northern California, but originally traveled on earth from Romania via Israel, via the UK, via now USA. Yael, are we waiting for more people to join?
I think we can start. They're joining as we're beginning.
Someone from South Carolina, I knew there would be someone from there. Hi, Cynthia Ray. So over to you, Yael.
So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us and for creating this space with us. This is a co-creation. Anita, you have arrived. So now we have all of our speakers here. We are so blessed to have the women of wisdom starting to create the co-ripple of this circle. But it is a co-creation, and we let the circle do the talking through our elders. But you will see that a lot of things that are going through you, someone is going to speak to maybe as you're thinking it or a moment after. So it really is, the circle is doing the talking and we are actually doing the listening. Even our speakers, they are doing their main focus or energy goes to listening. So whether the words are coming from their own mouth or from the mouth of their other selves, we are all in this listening together. And it's a very special way of listening, which we as Westerners are not so used to. We were fortunate enough to have our grandma, Rita Blumenstein, who's a Yupik elder that passed away not long ago. She was working with the 13 indigenous grandmothers and many other organizations and indigenous people around the world. And she found that they all have these gatherings that create this very deep listening. And she saw that it has very different forms, but they share the same guidelines. So she gathered those guidelines and handed it down to us. So we are forming these circles in light of those guidelines, because what I started feeling when I entered, I'm married to to an indigenous man. And so through him, I got to be in those circles. And what I found is that when women initially do it, it creates like an energetic womb. And coming from Israel, which is where I'm from, I felt that it really holds keys for peace, which is why we call this wombs of peace. And so I will read you the guidelines. Sorry. Because the first guideline is that we have to read the guidelines, just like we set the table, even if everybody knows where the forks are. As we get ready and invite people into a meal, we set the table. So these are the guidelines. The circle is doing the talking and we are doing the listening. That's how the talking works. Respect. This is a potluck of offering. If you are, as you are listening, be respectful. Even if something doesn't nourish you, it may be nourishing for your other self, someone else. When you share, respect yourself, your other selves, time and attention. We have a limited time and limited attention, limited energy, as we are limited in this world. So we are requesting everyone, our speakers and our listeners, to be mindful of that. Innocence. We're asking to listen with the innocence of a child, hearing something for the first time, without judging it, without resisting to it, or thinking about, do I agree with it? Do I disagree with it? Just listen to the story that is offered alongside another story. And so truth by truth, like dishes in a potluck, and you don't have to push away the cake in order to eat the pie. You can just choose what you take to your own unique plate and palate and appreciate that others may do something different that nourishes them. Asking to stay clear of agendas, titles, flags, to just engage in the listening. We are not here to market anything or be lecturing or advising or consoling, of course, not arguing, or even to not plan a reply. That is why most of us are just listening in these circles. So we don't even need, we're not expected to have something to say. We could, and that is why the chat box is here. But you will see with our elders, they don't plan a reply. They just let the thing that needs to be told to the circle to just come through them. And so before we can speak in that way, we are called to listen in that way. And when the circle is done, the way we all listen, or even just some of us, like if someone is listening in a different way with a different energy, the elders kind of sense it, and then the way they speak, they may not, open everything that they could open if we are open. So we are really asking to have that clear listening. Speaking, even our speakers, I mean, I invited you, but you do not have to speak if you feel that this is not necessary, or that you do not wish to, or that something is telling you to not speak. You could, I don't know, do something else, make another sound, or make no sound, because in this circle, even if you do not speak, you will be heard. And as I was saying, for us listeners, oftentimes it's like they hear our thoughts. The circle kind of brings it up, maybe in a different way, but we're in the conversation. It's a very active form of listening. And we ask our speakers and everyone, when you speak or when you share in the chat box, we only speak of what we know to be true. And what we know to be true is through our own lived experience, not something that we were taught or that we borrow, or someone else's thing, but something that you can speak to on behalf of yourself. We can be in the same situation. For one person, it can be funny, and for the other person, it be very triggering. And both are right, because both are different people that have experienced different things. And you can even hear sometimes in the circles the same story from different angles. And people just will not say that it was out. It was actually me and Evangelia. And we were walking, and then this happened. I will just say I was walking with a friend and that happened, and maybe then when she speaks, she could say I was walking with a friend and this happened. And you don't even sometimes know that it's the same situation, or sometimes it sounds like one story ignites another story that maybe they were the same in the same realm, but aren't we all anyway? So you are just asked to listen and allow every story to live in you for a moment, like you're watching a movie. And even though maybe you're a woman watching a story about a man, it could still resonate a lot, as we all know from films. We ask to speak when the words in the moment is ripe, so that here, you don't need to do all these but it just comes. And again, with our speakers, if you feel that you would like to take, like if I'm inviting you and you would like to take some more minutes to listen and have another speaker, then please just tell me. And we are called to listen to the womb and learn from the womb how to expand. So even if some of the things don't fit well with you initially, you can breathe and expand. And then, just like when we were pregnant, we had more than one heart in the same body, which is, it never happened unless you're pregnant, but it is possible. And it's sometimes very uncomfortable with the nausea and the swelling and the heartburns. But if we allow it, something truly new can begin to exist in us and maybe even outside of us. So we, as women, have that ability, but we all know that ability because we all have been in a womb, even if we don't carry one physically right now. So that is why we are asking all of us to lean into the womb and let it hold us without touching as we go into the circle. And now I would like to ask if anyone has any changes to make to these guidelines. That is also part of the guidelines, that if any changes need to be made, they need to be agreed on by everybody before we begin. So please unmute yourself if you want to add something. Okay, so with that, Anita, will you please open the sacred space for us with a blessing?
Welcome, all my relations. As we know, we're always in sacred space, and we just don't always acknowledge it. But here we always do. And so, with that, I invite you to lower your eyes and to listen with the softest part of your ears and your expanding heart. I am really delighted today to be able to be here, to listen and to bring some of the voice on behalf of our first mother, Mother Earth. Great Spirit, great mystery, thank you for this day. Ancestors, please guide us, all in this circle, this womb circle, to put our hearts and minds together, to listen to the divine voice within us, around us, and of Mother Earth, that we might at this threshold of change, yes, threshold of change, precipitate renewal, the new. Thank you for all that you give us, for the breath we breathe, the fire in our body that gives us energy, the waters of the wombs that wash our minds and bring the dreams in day and night. For you, Mother Earth, we move about your face, imbued with the power and the peace of the bones of our ancestors and our living relations. Thank you for the sacred wind purifying and carrying the voices we need to hear. Let these sacred voices come through, as Yael said, in words, sound, and just in silence and listening. Your voice for life in this gathering. All my relations, in beauty we walk, in beauty we walk, in beauty we walk, in beauty we walk. Take a couple of deep breaths and continue to listen with the softest part of your ears and expanding heart. And when you're ready, just open your eyes and be here with us.
Thank you, Anita, for rooting us into this present and its presence. And now, Diana, in order to have a womb circle, we need to connect to our womb, the one in us, the ones around us. So, Diana, if you can take us there with the meditation. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Anita. I will light a candle for us and inviting you to ignite the flame within. Within our heart, within our womb, within our soul. And let's close our eyes together and breathe deeply. Placing one hand on our heart and one hand on our womb if we have one. If not, keep both of your heart on your heart. And let's just breathe. And feel the heartbeat inside of yourself. Feel the womb beat inside of yourself. And feel the echo of the womb beat of your mother, where you were hosted for 9 moons on your journey to Earth. And feel the echo of the heartbeat of the Earth Mother, where all of us are contained. A womb within a womb within a womb. Sensing this chain of wombs, one within the other, like the Russian dolls nestling within each other. And making the connection between our heart and womb and the heart of our mothers and our ancestors to the womb of the earth. And allowing the question to arise, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? How can I serve you? And let us be with the question for a moment, not grappling for an answer right away, but being with the question, how can I serve you? the womb that had served us as home, as haven, as shelter, every human being on earth. The womb of the earth who's hatched us all. How can I serve you? And let this question live within you as we slowly begin to return, allowing this as a living question to beat in your heart, to pulse in your womb, to be part of your consciousness, of our daily awareness. Bringing our consciousness back into this moment with our eyes still closed. Feeling the question beating, pulsing, as we return more and more into our body, envisioning with our eyes closed the circle which we are part of, the screen before us, the flame of the candle within us and outside of us. Allowing our hands to either stay where they are on our heart and womb, or gently come to our lap or our sides. Wiggling our toes and fingers to get more of a sense of being in our body in this moment right now. And when we are ready and feeling fully here, allowing our eyes to gently open. You.
Thank you, Toda Rabba, Diana. I'm waiting to hear the answer, maybe for some of our speakers to your question. How can we serve Earth? And when we have these circles, we found that having a question as like the center of the circle for the circle to circle around is quite helpful. And so we have asked our elders and our women of wisdom, who is Earth? And who are we to Earth? And why are we here together? Us and Earth, us and our other selves. And so, Ia, maybe you can start speaking to these questions.
Good afternoon. I am Ia Tahira, St. Croix, Virgin Island, originally born in Pocahontas, Mississippi, the Chippewa people's land. Why I am wondering if I'm answering one, two, or all of these questions. They seem all relative, they intertwine together. And so I think I need them in front of me because it's like, I want to look at them like, what was that first question?
Who is Earth? We'll put it in the chat box.
If I said, who is Earth? It's like saying, who am I? I am Earth. Earth is I. And Earth and I are one. So that's hypothetically, we're looking at that Earth. And we look at Earth in terms of when we begin to embody that Earth as I am Earth, I come from that earth. I'm made up of that element. And that probably would take us a whole classroom, a whole day to explore that whole idea of being earth. And our next question was the second question was,
Who are we to earth?
who are we to earth? We are the Sabbath keepers. We are the earth keepers. Just suppose that we came in knowing that we was the earth keepers, would we not have a different feel for her? And so now if we hear that we are the earth keepers, it allows us to go out into the world and plant the seed inside of ourselves and allow it to take form, because it may feel new and it may feel foreign at this time. And it may be the first time that we thought in that way, but it's okay, because we're waking up to remember that we are earth. And our next question is, why are we here in this circle? Why are we sitting here? I like to think that we're sitting here to remember. Why are we here? To remember that we are earth and that we are one earth, one heartbeat, one earth, one breath, one breath. And I take that next breath, I may take it remembering that, you two are breathing with me. We're breathing together, because I'm coming conscious, aware that I am breath, I am earth. We weaving together this one heartbeat, this one earth, this one rhythm. And even if we just say that, just take our hands and feel into that and put it somewhere on our heart, maybe on our womb, and just feel where it resonates inside of us. And we could feel that energy. If I just get up in the morning and say, good morning, earth. Breathe into that earth. We are all there. We are that earth energy, that earth rhythm, that earth force. So let's just come together and remember that we have come together, joined together at this time, and we're here purposefully at this time. There are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. We literally were born for this time. Just think about that. We were born for this time. I am earth. You are earth. We are here together, weaving this tapestry into place once again. Remembering that we are that one heartbeat. We are on that one earth. We are the weavers of today. Grandmothers, mothers, sisters, aunties, grandmothers. We are ancient, and yet we are babes. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you for being here to help us weave this new earth into place again. Ashe, ashe.
Thank you, Leah, for those reminders, for the rhythm and the breath, and knowing that she's us and we are her. We are a part of her. We're not a part, but we are a part. And I would like to invite Celine to share with us, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sisters. My name is Celine Manga. I am a traditional healer from a Quechua culture. I am from Cusco, Quillabamba, Peru, so where I am now. And I am honored to be part of this circle. This circle gives me so much strength. So this strength lasts to me 28 days until the next circle.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this circle provide to all of you present in this circle the same strength, energy, and the knowledge that I am getting from all of you and the energy of this. I am super, super grateful to be here learning from the words of all of you guys that I am not alone. I used to suffer from loneliness because we have been isolated as indigenous. We are. And being united with you, I feel like I am invincible. And I am applying this in my whole life. So what is earth for us is the life, is exactly the same meaning as the life. We live because the earth lives. And we feel like we are dying when in some parts of our precious planet, the earth is dying. And when someone hurts severely the earth, I would like to recommend you to honor this moment by praying with me. You can do with your hands in this position to receive my praying, our praying. So traditionally, I received this from my ancestors. How to thank Mother Earth for, and we offer to Mother Earth also these flowers we made, flower, ayahuasca flower, these entheogen plants. So when we talk with Mother Earth and answering the question of this gathering, the answer is that we are close to divinity when we are close to Mother Earth. Mother Earth means divinity, and we are co-living with Mother Earth. So we are experiencing divinity in our lives. So I want to introduce you to this praying for this specific flower. Mother Earth, I am here, your little puppy. You make me close to the divine by giving me housing, food, sex, joy, and generosity to share with other humans the same. The wisdom you are giving to me is amazing. I love to say thank you to you, Mother Earth. But also, I want to be acknowledged as your humble daughter. I want to offer to you this meeting, this gathering today for you, because we do believe this type of circle is curing the harm we all produces to you. We all know that you, Mother Earth, are suffering. You are getting warm. This praying is trying to cool us, is trying to bring hope, innocence, dignity, authenticity, and strength to you. Mother Earth, you are my strength, but also I am yours. Thank you to all for accompanying me in this praying. Now I will love to answer the questions. Mother Earth is the divine here. We are indigenous women who used to live staring to the stars, to the infinite of the Milky Way, of the Southern Cross, of the polar bear star. So why we are here? What do we mean for Earth is the possibility to still alive, the possibility to be close to the divine, and especially to transmit this to the youngest generations. Youngest generation needs our attention. Youngest woman needs our guidance. Please include youngest, include your own child in this circle. Otherwise, this will die with us. It's important for Mother Earth, the reproduction, the transmission, the change of reproduction of this knowledge, of this love for Earth. So I also will answer the question that what we are for Mother Earth, what we are for Mother Earth, we are the possibility to transmit this from generation to other generation. We want to invite youngest generations. And answering the question that why are we together? We are together because the divinity means the why we are together. We are together here to experience divinity inside of us. One way to connect the divine on us is to get connected with Mother Earth. Plant a seed, make it grow, take care of the water. So raise your family, raise your earth, raise your bodies of water, raise your river, raise your lagoon, raise your own earth. The reason why we are together is to raise together, like teaching together, experiencing the divine. If you have difficulties to express the divinity inside of you, you can take sacred plants like psilocybin, like peyote, like LSD, like any other plants that Mother Earth give to us to stay together, to understand what is happening and why we are together. We are together to survive each along with the other. So I have no words for the organizer of these circles, because these circles are bringing this all ancient tradition to the youngest generations, and that's why we are together. Thank you so much. I will offer to you a very ancient song talking about the eagle and the condor flying together, the global north and the global south. Cierto ripus jaija, cierto pasas jaija, águila guaman, Chayay, águila guaman. Chayay, cóndor may cucunan, cóndor may cucha. Águila guaman, chayay, águila guaman, chayay. Wijiña, wijiwan, sasasajepita. Águila cóndor, chayay, águila cóndor, chayay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Celine, so much. That was so beautiful, and so many things came with your sharing. Celine is a healer and a Western medical doctor, and when she was talking about how we are helping to bring down the temperature of Mother Earth, I could see Mother Earth like a person, like a child, or like an older woman, really, in fever, and we are trying to put wet cloth on her to soothe her skin, her temperature. And it's really interesting that you spoke at the beginning about being alone. And when I was preparing for this circle, I came about this picture that I will share with you. When my first thought was how alone she looks, our Earth. I will just find how to share screen. Here I go. You probably know this. We always look at the moon, but this is the moon looking at us. And our Auntie Sabra from Hawaii said, the Earth is our island. And if you look at the black space as the ocean, you can see our island and how rare and precious and alone she is. And then you said that you don't feel alone anymore, Celine. And you talk about how you feel invincible. So to me, it felt like from invisible to invincible. Thank you for making me feel that too, through you, through us, through these reflections that we are to each other. And next, I would like to have Anita, because I know you need to leave early and we want to hear from you, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Elder Ia, and thank you, amazing healer, who just spoke from Peru, Celine. Thank you. I love this circle. And as I guess 3 things are coming through, not that I thought I was going to talk about them. That's what happens in circle if you're present. Other things show up. I'm very aware of these circles being really critical, but I'm also aware of how our minds work, how my mind works, and can fall into separation. And so the circle is really critical. But when I get still and begin listening again, no matter where I am, it is circle. My dream is one day we'll all wake up, the 2-leggeds, and realize we do nothing alone. There is no such thing as alone. There is such thing as loneliness because we're human beings, but not alone. I can't even be sitting here breathing except that I have the plant relatives, changing the carbon into oxygen. It's and on, the waters and on and on. So there's nothing that we do alone. But I also find that that questions you about who are we, who's the earth, who are in relation to, why are we here? And so 3 stories come up and I'll make them short. The first one is from being very little. I don't know, as early as 3, I can remember my Uncle Laura in the Osage community when we'd go to the reservation and listen. And by the way, he's not a biological uncle, but that's the other thing with Indigenous, everybody's aunts and uncles and grandmother, grandfathers. So sometimes as you get older, you kind of sort that out. But in the reality is we're all connected. And that's what he would say when we would gather as little kids, and he would teach us about who we are and what we are. He would always put his hands in this big circle. And the circle is not up. Look at my hands, it's flat. And he said, to be a whole human being is to live in harmony and balance with yourself and the people, with the earth and with spirit. And if we hurt ourselves, or we hurt the earth, or we hurt spirit, we not only hurt any one of those, it hurts the whole. And when we love and care for ourselves, for the other two-leggeds, and all the other beings on earth and the spirit, then we are loving, we are expansive, life-seeking life when we do that. And that, to me, until I got into, really it was college, I always thought people had an uncle or a grandmother or an auntie, a sister, a mother, who would tell us about this. And then I realized, no, very different assumptions, very different worldviews are being told. So I think that's really critical. And that's part of who we are and what we are, is remembering who and what we are in relation to. And from the Moon-WOP people, which some known as Azteca, and the indigenous people of the Amazon, which is also in part of my blood, is that we are all one, with everything of earth and the stars that you were talking about, Celine, part of the whole cosmos. And when we remember that, it's like what you said, I feel that way every day when I go, oh my gosh, look at all the pain and suffering. Not only just out there, but in here, and wondering, and friends who are passing away really suddenly, and more climate disasters happening, more, you know, people on the move, and animals, not that they wanted to, it's being destroyed, Mother Earth, where they live. And then I have two stories from that. So I'm hoping that these stories just will spark something in yourself. And I think from the first one is that maybe a little modification, but it's definitely connected to the question of who is we're serving, are we of service? And the thing to remember, as my uncle was teaching us about this circle of oneness of all our relations, is that we have to care for ourselves as well as care for others. And I think part of this circle reminds me of women who are so powerful and strong, is we have to also care for ourselves. And that lie, that story is you give it all away, you give it all away, give it all away. That is not true in this circle of abundance, of this oneness. It's taking care of ourselves as well, so that we can keep giving and receiving, and that gets out of balance. So examining your assumption of your worldview. Are you separate? Are you part of a oneness? Is a really critical one. The other two stories that came up as I sat here and listened to my sisters and elders, and actually felt the energy from the faces on the two sheets that I can see here of little squares that aren't squares at all. Because as I look at you all, I know that there's a whole long line of ancestors that came before, and a whole long line who will come after. And those relatives are not only the two-legged ones, but are all the relatives, all of it. The four-legged, the winged, the water, all the elements and minerals. So those two stories quickly, one that came forward that said, share this with them. And in March, I was in this very beautiful place to speak. One that almost 15 years ago, I had seen a story about in the paper. And I remember saying to my husband, one day I want to go there. I want to be there in that elder council house where Nelson Mandela was, where Bishop Tutu, Kofi Annan, many of women and men, just elders from all over the world, where government leaders and business leaders would just sit outside the circle and just listen for days. And so in March, I ended up being invited to speak at this place. I didn't know that's where it was, but on the first morning when I arrived in the British Virgin Islands at Necker Island. They took me to where I was going to speak. And about 30 people were sitting, waiting. And I looked at them. There was no sound that came out of my voice. I had my mouth open, nothing came out. And I was to speak about Earth. And then I just turned. I just went like that and I turned. And there were the pictures of Nelson Mandela, Bishop Tutu. I was in the house where the elders met, the Elders Council, and I was speaking there. And so I share that because of two things. Sometimes our visions, our waking, our sleeping dreams is also part of this hoop. And sometimes we can get cynical or forget them. But the reality is the universe, Mother Earth, the cosmos, is all conspiring in our favor. And I know that I'm saying this not out of, I come from very, very, very economically poor beginnings, but I will not say that in terms of other kinds of richness that was around me, in addition to incredible pain. So I share that. And the second morning, the boat, I missed the boat. So I was a little late to get to the island. I was only 4 minutes away. And the winds were starting to pick up and the waters were rising. My hair was blowing everywhere. And a thought went through, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be late. And then I got still and remembered, well, I was the only speaker that day. So I would ride when I arrived. But then I said, Mother Earth, water, beings in the sky, all of the children, what do you want me to share? And so when I went that morning, finally arrived and began to speak in the Elder Council house again to the people, I said, before I share a ceremony, before I do it, I need to share this message that came. And what the message was is that you all have been walking now in 6 days and dreaming for 6 days and 6 nights in this most beautiful place called Necker Island. Nature, so absolutely beautiful, and the waters and the skies. And what the earth, what came to me was they said, please tell them they have been walking in beauty. But tell them, just like gravity is a force of nature, gravity is a force, so is beauty a force of nature. And I thought that was it, but then the wind just kicked up and it was like, and you and you and you, and I'm pointing to everyone. Actually, I don't want to point, I want to open my palms to every one of you here, that you are part of beauty. Beauty is a force of nature. We are nature. And so the more we remember that, the more that we allow and not push up against the conspiracies, that energy that is moving through us for life, seeking life. So that's one. And then the last, so let's take a breath on that one. So I could feel that message coming through so strong. And they felt it too. So not putting beauty outside of ourselves, not putting nature outside of ourselves, but also that responsibility to fill up, to be healthy and alive so that that flow can keep happening. And then the last story is one that just happened last week. I was at a 3-day intertribal gathering of 72 nations of the Southwest United States. And there were people who came from farther away than that to listen and share. And it was on the intertribal rights of nature. And I just want to share with you, there are people listening, that we are part of that. It's not that we're doing anything wrong. We do need to keep replenishing and listening to each other and listening some more, but it's also about action, but an action out of the fullness of life, not an action out of more scarcity and fear and everything else that's so easy to fall into. And who I saw there were close to 200 Indigenous people. We ate well. The first Indigenous women to win the Beards Award, she was named this year to be the best chef in the Northeast. and that was the Jane Beard Award. So I'll have to think of her name and that, put it in the chat. But anyway, from 14 years old to in their 80s, the stories kept coming about how we're spirit, how we're part of the earth. And so we talk about the rights of nature. It's the rights of all of it, but that we give voice to the water, to the earth. But the reality is that people listen. People could, if we just all listen, we wouldn't have to give voice because we'd all realize we're part of it. But nonetheless, I want to bring the beginnings, not that there isn't pushback, but they're the beginnings of various groups. It was the, I'm trying to find the name here real quick. The Ho-Chunk tribe was the first here in the US to incorporate rights of nature into their sovereign laws. It's the Mashpee Wampanoag. That's one of the tribes in Massachusetts, so in the Northeast. And they just recently got the rights of nature, rights of herring. These little herring, these little fish that were so critical and a part of their creation story, and they realized the numbers were getting smaller and smaller. And these 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds were the ones that started all of this. And they said, we're just going to solve this. The cynicism that sometimes happens as we get older on how is this going to, they're just like, no. And some of the adults told them they're naive, and they go, well, but Mother Earth is with us. Father Sky is with us. So we go forward. And of course, then they ended up doing it. And those ripples, and there are many others that are happening, because on sovereign nations, and this is where we're whole, it's not just Indigenous people, because we know when we get these rights in sovereign nation, we don't have to deal with all the craziness that happens in states, all those kinds of laws, because we are exempt from those. We still have a relationship with the federal. However, the courts are ruling in our favor. And in Minnesota recently, they ruled in our favor in part due to the creation story of the Indigenous people there. Now, to me, as someone who's brought up a PhD in science, because I knew I needed to go and be able to bridge. And at the same time, I knew I had to get rid of some of that teachings because it messes your mind up. So both are true. But that here, the court of law said, no, what they are saying in their rights, this is part of their creation story. They don't have a hierarchical story like the rest of the United States, where human beings are at the top, even though we're the youngest ones here. So I just bring those stories to you to say, we each get to examine our assumptions. We each get to, on every breath, decide and choose whether we're going to be good medicine to ourselves and others or bad medicine. And good medicine is anyone or anything that brings it to alignment, the spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, that understands harmony and balance in this hoop of life. And with that, I'm going to end. There's so much more, and I can feel it rising and weaving inside of you. Bring to life, women and men who are here, those stories that are yours, because they ignite, they cause the remembering of who we are, what we are. So I thank you, sisters. I thank you, elders. I thank all of you who come here, because it's not only us, it's the dreams that brought us here of our ancestors. It's those that we're answering to at least 7 generations forward, and we take this energy out. So we're being and doing in this oneness, in this life-seeking life. Aho.
Oh, thank you so much, Anita. And I think you just demonstrated how we are stories. And it seems like she likes your stories. She heard you about the place you wanted to go to. And if you have patience, which is also something that pregnancy teaches us and the womb teaches us, it may come. And I mean, you could have stayed with your back to that wall or looked somewhere else and you would have missed it, as we often do. I feel often it's not about her not speaking to us, but us being deaf. And so thank you for reminding us to listen and also to speak your stories. Maybe going back to Diana's question at the beginning, how can I serve you? Listening to Anita, I'm thinking, tell stories. Maybe she likes stories. Thank you. And Suzanne, can we hear some of your stories? Let's see.
Okay,
Yes, we can hear now.
I guess you can hear me now. Yeah. Am I plugged in?
Yes, we hear you. We hear you well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Please share.
Well, I've been appreciating everything that's been going on here, so I thought, well, why do I have to say anything? You know, it's all out there. So do you think I should go on?
Maybe you want to show something instead of speak, or I don't know.
Want to show an image? I'll tell you that later. Well, I wrote down some things that I was thinking, pondering about this word earth. And I said to someone, you never told me who it was. Helen said, I said to someone, there is no such thing as earth. Oh. And so I said, huh? So I began thinking about it. And so I wrote down a bunch of things and I'll just go through them. And later I have an image that as an artist that I did that we can probably put on for the ending. So I like to start out with who is the earth? Not what is the earth, but who. And so as I thought about it, I thought water, silt, sand, clay, minerals, plants, wood. That's earth. But we don't think of that when we start building. When we start building our cities, our towns, our homes, our communities, we don't think about that. Like, who is the earth? And when we stop to realize that there is no such thing as earth. What's out there is water, silt, sand, clay, minerals, plants, wood, and probably different animals' poop. So anyway, so the next question I had is, who are we to her? Who are we to her? Meaning, quote, what we call earth. So I put just another species, maybe more bothersome than the rest. But that's what we're part of with this thing we call earth. But what it's really made up of, we're also part of that. So then I put down, why are we on this journey? That's the eternal question. Why? And it's all, we've been talking about all evening, all morning, is what are we doing here? What's our purpose here? Why are we even here? Why even we spending our time talking about it? And the first thing I thought of is because she's alive. All those things that make her up is what she is made of. He, she, it, or whatever you want to call it. So why are we on this journey? This eternal question. Why are we on this journey through time and through the earth that we call the earth? And I realize the journey is something they call it earth, but the way we're treating it is not earth. We don't stop to realize who is earth? Water, silt, sand, clay, minerals, plants, and wood, and animal and bird poop. So after I put this down, I said, why on earth are we here for the moment? And I often think of that. I often think of that when I'm doing my artwork or when I'm wandering around looking at some animal staring at me. I'm thinking, who are you? And the animal's standing there like, if you'd get out of my way. But I have these times with animals when I say, who are you? And an ear moves, another ear moves. And I said, what are you doing here? And then a head might go like this or like this. But there's no conflict. So I'm usually the one that says, okay, I disturb you, see ya. So I started writing down, the earth is our definition. The earth, E-A-R-T-H, is our definition, because what we name, we own. What we name, we own. Oops. The earth is our definition because of that. We call cows livestock, even though we value them as dead stock. Oh, how do you explain that to a little kid? We don't call the earth the home of others. The animals are the stewards of the quote, earth. The earth needs time and seasons to grow and flourish, but we put a time schedule on her. See all the big machines building big houses, big everything. So to perform and produce as we demand. So, and I'm sure we've all experienced that. That's what's going on over there. Oh, the town just voted to have it this and this and this and this. No. So when we put this time schedule on her to perform and produce as we demand, we're still trying to say the earth is ours. The earth is ours, but we never think that way. So as an artist, I'm interested in the patterns that exist between species, patterns that exist between species, forces and materials of the natural world. Not the earth, the natural world. So that's what I have been dealing with in thinking about, why do we keep calling this the earth? Because all around us in Canmore, you wouldn't believe what's going on here, or maybe you would, is all the digging up of all the different areas that are so beautiful. Our own street has become a huge behemoth. And the behemoth means the houses that are going out are outrageously huge. And they're built on what we call the earth. And it's not the earth, it's what we're made, it's what it's made of. And what happens is when I go looking to see what do they need these huge houses for, I mean huge. There's no space in the back for any gardens. Nothing in the back of the place except, another balcony to sit out and smoke their cigarettes and look at the mountains. And so I keep wondering, why are we doing this? And why do we call this our earth? Because we named it earth. I don't know if God spun his finger and said, earth, 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 earth. But once we say earth, we think we own it. We can do what we want with it. We have a town council that can vote this in and this in. When I first came to Canmore, it was a mining town, coal mining. And we stayed in this, they found a house for us to rent, but it had no indoor toilet or no bath or shower. So we thought, So right away, then the coal miners came one by one to see us and said, okay, girls, we have it organized for your showers and your bath. So this family is taking you next Saturday, and this family is going to have you next Tuesday. And this family, we've never met any of them, but we wrote it down. And then that became the big deal with hearing about these two new people that moved in from Montreal. And they have no bathtub, no how they wash. And so they all got together and said, we're gonna each take turns having them here to wash. And that was another thing we saw about what do we call earth. Earth becomes an ownership. And that's why towns and cities build as they want, because we own the land, so we can have big high rises, huge behemoths of what's the word I want? Of the houses, big, huge behemoth of houses. And when people drive up the street, they're like, they can't believe it. And I think we're the only place left as a miner's house. And it's just wonderful that what we have is we have a big yard that used to be there for the hospital that was on the hill behind us. So they kept a yard here in case they had to make the hospital bigger. So we have a big yard, and that we've had so many real estate people coming here and when are you going to sell your house? And we say, never. Oh, and this word has gotten through the town. Don't even bother with them. They're not going to sell their place. It's all miners' house and so on. So what my whole thing.
Okay, and Liberty, can you put her image on?
I want to show you the image that I have, as an artist, that I have created to speak to this, what I'm talking about. Can you people see it? Can you see it okay?
Yeah, we see it. Thank you.
Okay. So the whole purpose of this, when I started making it, is on the upper left-hand corner, you see something almost looks like a crow's mouth. And between it is the earth. And so then I started with that, just feeling my way around, that how did this earth get started? It's not an earth, and then, oh, how did this place get started? And so I began seeing had to be sunlight, there had to be water, there had to be some creepy crawlies somewhere. So what you're seeing in the picture is the upper left-hand corner is the like the crow's mouth holding our planet. And then the rest of the things through it there's a bird here, a weird looking bird. There's a little animal here in the water. And then there's the whale, that all things are stylized. And then there's this bunch of circles going on here. And I started feeling how circular things happen to make this place called Earth, but to make this place called home. And so I got into doing these, looking through the circular images and so on. And then this is the sun is coming down. This is all the water stuff. But then I thought, oh, there's always a surprise. Always a surprise somewhere when we do artwork. And that's the surprise. Because all of this is some fish and some birds, but nothing that was growth with
The tree, you mean, because
the
they
tree.
can't see you pointing.
Oh,
They can't see you
you can't see me pointing, I guess, but there's a tree in the upper right-hand corner. And that was the surprise, the beginning of what was going to happen on our earth. We were going to have growth of many things. So I just want to share that with you. So I think that's all I have to say. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed everybody's talk. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Suzanne. But one of the advantages in knowing some of our speakers more than these circles is I know that Suzanne, she mentioned animals in different parts of her sharing now with us, and even behemoth is actually behemoth, which is hippopotamus in Hebrew. It comes from the Bible, behemoth susayo. And so even when she's describing houses, she's actually talking about animals, and we can't get into all of Suzanne's stories with animals, but it's just amazing. She once had a talk with a dolphin, and it invited her to put her head into his mouth. And I do want to share, I was thinking of telling you, but then I found the picture as she was talking. And so let me show you one of the things that happened when she was nearly owned by a giant bird. I don't remember the name of it. But that bird just chose Suzanne and was there for like 20 minutes, Suzanne, or something.
This is a booby bird.
And that's part of the female anatomy, boob-e.
This is a wild booby bird on the Galapagos Islands, where I spent quite a little bit of time. And so that bird flew in with his freaking flapping wings, and somehow got him down and landed on my shoulder when I was doing a walk along the Bering Sea. And I just practically bonged me over. And I thought, what? What? And I turned my head and looked, and this booby is just looking down at me like, who are you? So that's where I've often, when I go out to enjoy my walks and stuff, and there's trees and grass and all of this and that. But what hurts me is when I see the huge machines digging through the earth. And the next thing we see is a behemoth. You know what a behemoth is? A huge, used to be animals. But these houses, if you saw them, I'm sure you'd shake your head. So last thing I want to say is there's a book that I would definitely suggest people read. It's called A Land. And it's by Jaquetta Hawks. And it's Beacon Press. It's in paperback. It was written in 1951. It's a very powerful, powerful book on what we call land. And you can't put it down until you finished reading it. So that's all I have to say. I appreciate everything that everybody's talking about. Thank you very much for all your telling what your mind is saying and what your eyes are seeing and how you're feeling. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. And this is the last thing I'm going to snitch on is that Suzanne found a dinosaur, a new dinosaur that was never found until she found it. And so there's a dinosaur named after her. And it brings me back to how many of our speakers spoke about we're not alone, not only here now, we are not alone as in this doesn't have to end with us. There are future generations, there are former generations, and we need to recognize how we are not alone also in time, not just in space, in the present moment. So thank you for all of those reminders. And Mahina, can you please share whatever is coming through you?
Aloha ma, aloha ma, aloha ma, my other self. I am so honored and I feel so privileged to be part of this circle of all you beautiful beings. And I've been going through so much, as we all are, and we're just shedding and realizing by the second. And I've been in this deep course with Keone, one of my mentors, about the unihipili. So the unihipili is the womb. And if you put your hand on her right now with me, and the kiakahi is our purpose. And it's where we lay all confusion to rest. All the confusion we lay to rest. And there's so many Hawaiian words that are so, so powerful. Like the kuakahi is your proclamation. I proclaim. And the proclamation that the unihipili says is ua malu. Ua malu is I am safe. So if you repeat that after me in your own time, ua malu, I am safe. And what I'm understanding is how to introduce ourselves to each other so that we know we have instruction on how to love each other. We need to know the heartfelt feelings of your womb so we know how to love you. We know how to share and grow. If you can imagine that only 100 years ago, this was the Garden of Eden, just 100. And my womb space, because I've been connecting with her finally after losing her and not caring about her. Her name is Bliss, and I would like to introduce you to her. And the aha is what we're doing. It's the braiding of the lahui, the aha. So as we are braiding together, it's almost like, it's funny. Aha, I get it. It's the actual word that we braid. We braid together. So what nourishes me, because when you introduce yourself, you need to know what nourishes you so that you can give clear instruction and there's no confusion. If we're really going to engineer this new earth, then we need to be clear, precise on what the mother is telling us, because this is her story. The earth to me is my goddess, my queen. And I'm wearing purple this month because this is in honor of Liliuokalani, our last queen, and it was her birthday last week. And so this whole month, all of us wear purple to honor that beautiful queen. She didn't break kapu. She slept on the ground, even though she was arrested for being a queen. And she held her ground. She didn't break the kapu. She didn't compromise. She didn't sell her soul. She kept her ground. And so we honor her by remembering her. And as we go into the story, the earth story, the Haumea is the name of the earth for us. Haumea. How is the peace, the eternal peace, the how, because she's birthing. And this is her story of becoming a star. And she called us to her. And when she called us, you could just imagine you are a beautiful being floating through the universe in all of your glory. And all of a sudden, in your unihipili, you got a call, you got a tickle, you got a sense of direction. And so we followed that. We are great navigators. We are time travelers. So as we followed that navigation to the earth, she called us to her. And we went through the canal of her womb. And we were birthed. And that is who I am. I am bliss when I connect to the face of my newborn child's eyes, when the sunshine is on my body, when I dance in the deep devotion of myself, being childlike and seeing the world for the first time, swimming deep underwater with my aumakua, my guardians, of vibrant children laughing, roaring in your ears, knowing we are bliss in every wave that kisses the shorelines. When I float in the ocean of my soul, when the sunshine touches my face and infuses every being with the honey of my shine, when my heart beats with the Mother Earth in perfect synchronicity as she nourishes me with her milk as I lay at her breast. I am the moonlight that shines on the ocean. I am the crystals of clarity. The first breath of a baby whale. The excitement of a huge drop on a wave. The truth of swimming through eternity. I am the water that flows over my face as I stand as a mountain and the water pools to my feet. I am the blissful feeling of a bite of a mango. Everything that I do, she does through me. And for the Hawaiians, for the Mu, for the indigenous, for all human beings, this is who we are. We are her fingers, her hair, her eyelashes, that see, and in her ears that hear the winds whispering in our ears, and that knowing the message that comes from one elder to the next elder, the mountaintops that laugh with each other and send lightning strikes to each other as jolts of energy into her body happens. And we are a victory. There's no pain. There's no tears unfelt, because we are her. And as we go again, we are going again into the birthing chambers. Oh, and it's been really hard for all of us, because we're so connected. And as we see the fires that burn our children, and the waters that drowned our children and our grandmothers, our hearts are breaking again. So we pull ourselves back, and we know it is the season. It is the season of great renewal. It is the season when dead things fall away and new things are born. And we're so thankful for that, because we know it is the great awakening. We know, you've all seen, we're going to the greatest time. We're going to uncharted territory. And this is my kukala. This is my proclamation. And I stand strong behind it. Nothing can take me out of the peace of my womb, of my unihipili. Because what nourishes me is the blissful knowing that we have overcome every obstacle. We have overcome every death and every distortion. It has no longer power over us. And I love you all so much. And I can feel our hearts beating as one. And as I always go down my grounding cord in your womb space, your grounding cord goes into the earth, and it searches the heart of the earth. And you know this trail, you know this way. We've walked this path into the middle of the earth, into her heart so many times. And I wrap, as we all wrap our grounding cord around her heart and pull tight. Ooh, you can feel that pulling tight, knowing that we will never be lost and we will never be alone, because we are all tied together. Aha. We are aha. We are braiding our womb cords together. And as I go up through my crown chakra, through the top of my being, up my life cord to the central sun, because we are the kiss of the Father that kisses the earth, the sun that kisses the mother, the sunshine that blooms the flower. We are the kiss, this body. So as I go up to the central sun, my father creator, my mother creator, I can feel that cord, and I pull tight. Ooh, I pull tight. I lasso around the sun and I pull tight, so that life force never stops beating into my body. And that is the honey. And as I turn my face up to the sun, and I can feel the honey as it comes into my forehead and down my eyes, and over my shoulders, and it's nourishing every bacteria, nourishing every sadness and every pain. It just nourishes, it just washes and infuses every distorted programming in my brain. And I'm so fulfilled with this honey. And as it goes through my lungs, So I may take deeper breaths. The aha, waving with the honey. Ah. And as it goes into my womb space and pulls, it's like a big, beautiful pool that pulls in the most wondrous place in all of the heavens, the womb of creation. He nourishes her with everything he has. And as I exhale all of that energy into the earth, I am one with the earth. I am receiving everything that he's giving. He gives everything. The Father gives everything to the Mother, unending, no stopping, just gives everything of creation. All the flowers are blooming. All the trees are growing. All the children are laughing and being born again. And as I breathe in the Mother, I breathe in her milk and I suckle at her milk, at her big, beautiful, nourishing breast of life. And it washes through me and it goes up to the Father, and she gives all of herself to him. All that she is, she gives to him lovingly, endlessly, wondrously. So every breath is the milk and the honey. There is no sickness in this place. There is no sadness. There is no aloneness. There is only womb manifestation. Womb manifestation. Just sit here for a minute. In the silence of our home, of our truth. This is my kukala of aha. Uamalu, I am safe. And as we feel that space, we now put our hands on our heart, because the heart is where the divine masculine lives. This is our uhane. And our uhane is so important. He needs us so much. He needs clear instruction. And he needs to open his heart wider. That is his proclamation. Open my heart wider to receive once again clear instruction, unlimited nourishment from wife to husband, from father to mother, from brother to sister, from self within, self without. Clear instruction, nourishing everything that we are. And I just love you all so much. And I know that we are writing this beautiful story of her, our queen, our queen Gaia, our queen Haumea, our queen Earth. It matters not, because when I look outside my window, I see ocean and love and flourishing and children in a safe home, in a garden of Eden. And I know that we are accomplished in our mission. And I'm so, so honored to be here with you guys again. And I will make so much efforts to come every month, I promise. And I invite you all again to come to Kauai and lay on the beaches and swim in the rivers. It's important. Aloha ma, aloha ma, aloha ma. That means I wish life to my other self. The ha. The Hawaii. That's how we know. That's how the Moon manuscripts knew that there's no other place called Hawaii. It's where we blew breath into the vai, which is water. So we blew the breath into the water and created mountains and created valleys and created oceans and created all the beautiful animals. It was so graceful. We just had to go and it flourished. So remembering who we are and that we are creator beings is our purpose. Ayo! Ayo means it is so. And yeah, I agree.
Yo, and yeah. Mahalo, Mahina. How beautiful and rich. And the cycles, the breathing, the heartbeats. So much of what the beginning of the circle was about. And speaking of milk and honey, I will invite the woman from the land of milk and honey that I met there, Diana. Can you please share?
Thank you so much, each one of you. I have to fill with the buttons here so I can view you all, not myself. Thank you for everyone that spoke. There is so much connection to oneness and unity, and I want to briefly speak to that. I know that we're out of time, so I'll be short. I'll start with our land of milk and honey, with our language of Hebrew. Earth, which is Eretz, which you can hear the sameness of earth and Eretz. But Eretz became synonymous with country. And I'd like to speak about Adama. Adama, which is earth as well. Adama, which we call Ima Adama, Mother Earth. And Adama, if you listen to the sounds of Dam, Adam, Adama, blood, human, earth. Dam, Adam, Adama. So we are blood relation. We are blood related. Who else shares blood other than a mother and her baby in her womb? I know there are many cultures that have men slit a cut in their finger and they mix their blood in order to make bonds, to make relations. We as women share blood in our womb with another being. So what does it mean that we are blood relations? We think of ourselves as her children. We heard so much over this course of an hour and a half about our unity and connection and oneness. We're not her children, we are her child. We are but one child, all of us, cells in the being of one, her child. In the same way that the earth is one cell in the being of the universe. There isn't a star that thinks I'm separate. The universe is one being, one entity, with the cells being all of the stars, except for we think of ourselves as one planet that's separate. We have trillions of cells in our body. No one cell thinks I'm by myself, I'm on my own, I'm separate, I'm more important, I'm an eye, I'm a liver, I'm a toe. That's what cancer is. Cancer is cells that are thinking they are separate. And they start multiplying and start growing as if they are not part of the whole. And we as human beings are thinking ourselves as separate. I am your child. I am your beloved child. I'm your favorite son or daughter. We're not children. We are one child. We are one cell, each of us, in the body of the child of Mother Earth. And maybe we're here to realize that, to come back from separation into the womb, into the oneness that the womb teaches us, where no separation exists. Aho.
Tada, Diana. Into the womb, into the oneness. And it's interesting how these words seem so different in the way they are spelt, but then when you say them, the sound is so similar. The oneness, the womb, which brings us back to the beginning when Ia was also sharing about the music, the rhythm, and the self. And so many have reminded us that we are not separate, or what we do to her or to our other selves, we do to ourselves. And what we do to ourselves, we can do to others. So may we do good. And with that, we are closing the circle. So we will give 2 minutes of silent reading and nurturing. If our audience or some of our speakers have more that you want to share, the chat box is ready to receive, and you can nourish and be nourished without sound for a bit, and then Ia will close it for us with a blessing. Please, let's turn to the chat box. Thank you, everyone. And Ia, will you please close the sacred space with a blessing?
Thank you, everyone. I like to see us as a womb, like just see us as the womb. And let's wrap all of the stories, all of the that came through today, and let's put it in that womb. Just imagine that we're in this universal womb, and we are the creation, we are the mothers, and the women are the one that carries the womb and mimics creation herself. So whatever we need to wrap up, we can wrap it around and hold it in this sacred moment, in this sacred time, and begin to envision and infuse this new creation to come forth. So I'd like for us to wrap that up, bring it into this circle, and imagine that we are in that womb. And let's hold that womb together. And let's honor that womb and whatever in this in-between cycle, from this moon time to the next moon, whatever comes up in your moon time, in this womb space, bless it. Whatever it is, bless it. Even if it feels painful, bless it. Because it offers us the wisdom and what we need to melt away and give way to in order for new birth to come through. That's kind of how contractions are. And I feel like we are in that contraction. We are in this deep birthing place. So each one of us can play a role in this birthing. So let's wrap it up and give gratitude to all the voices, to all that showed up here, the invisible as well as the visible. We thank you for coming to hold and hold this space for us. We thank you, Creator, creation. We thank you, all the benevolent forces. We thank all the nature forces, everything that showed up here to support us, the voices, the prayers, the stories. And let's bring that in and wrap it around ourselves. And each one of us, put your hand on your womb or on your heart and be in gratitude to that womb feeling. Be in gratitude to the womb that nurtured you and brought you into this space. And gratitude to Mother Earth, the womb that we all share together. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, elemental forces, for all that you give to us and all the ways that you support us. To all our relatives. And so it be. Ashe, Ashe. Ashe. Keep the questions coming in. You all, if we have things not said, please leave us your questions.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Our newsletter is back functioning, so you can also write questions to the address in the newsletter, and I will also leave you another address that you can write to. And if you're here through Diana's newsletter, you can write back through that newsletter. And this has been a very beautiful encounter, and every encounter is a co-creation. So thank you for this co-creation.
Yeah,
We will see you next time. What am I forgetting, Diana?
22nd of October, it's a Sunday. Put it on your calendar. We can put it in the chat.
Yes. Thank you.
Pacific as always, October 22nd, Sunday.
Same time as these times, so you don't even have to calculate. And for our elders, those who can make it, for our women of wisdom, we would like to hear next time about creation stories and how we are co-creators with creation. It might change, but for now, this is what seems to be coming. And these circles are very nourishing spiritually and mentally, emotionally. On the physical side, our elder Rita Blumenstein that I mentioned at the beginning, she used to say, we need two wings to fly, one in the spiritual and one in the physical. If we only have one, we cannot fly. So if you feel called to help us fly, Liberty, if you can put links in the chat box, and we will see you next time. This is the official end of the circle. I will stop the recording and you can unmute and say your farewells.